My beloved child, pause everything you're doing, because a quiet ignition has already begun beneath the surface of your life, and in the next 24 hours, something you thought was distant suddenly steps forward. This is not noise. This is not coincidence. This is timing aligning with who you are becoming. Listen very closely now. There are moments when the universe doesn't shout, it leans in and whispers. And this is one of those moments. You didn't find this message by accident. You were guided here because a future version of you is reaching backward, nudging you awake, saying, now. Pay attention. This is the doorway. You may feel it already, a subtle restlessness, a pressure that isn't anxiety but anticipation. As if the air itself is holding its breath. That feeling is not confusion, it's activation. You've been preparing for this long before you knew what this even was. Every delay. Every strange detour. Every unanswered question. None of it was wasted. Stay with me just a little longer, because what's unfolding isn't about sudden miracles falling from the sky. It's about alignment snapping into place. When intention meets readiness. When vision finally finds courage. In the next 24 hours, you're not being asked to become someone new, you're being invited to step fully into who you already are. Here's the truth most people never hear: destiny doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives precisely. Often disguised as a small nudge, an idea you can't shake. A message that lands deeper than expected, a decision that suddenly feels unavoidable. And when it comes, it tests one thing: your willingness to move when the signal appears. You were never late. You were never behind. You were being calibrated. Hold this moment gently, because something extraordinary happens when awareness meets opportunity. The future doesn't activate because of luck. It activates because of resonance. And right now, your inner frequency is shifting. Old doubts are loosening their grip. Old limitations are losing authority. You're beginning to see differently, and that changes what confined you. You won't want to drift away here, because this is where the layers begin to peel back. The reason certain doors never opened before. The reason your path looked nothing like others. The reason you felt pulled toward bigger questions, bigger visions, bigger impact. All of it points to this convergence. There is a force moving through innovation, vision, and bold thinking on this planet, a current that rewards those who dare to see beyond the present moment. And you, quietly, have always felt drawn to that current. Not to chase it, but to align with it. This is where it all starts to make sense. In the next 24 hours, you may notice a shift, not dramatic on the surface, but profound at the core. A realization clicks. A conversation lands differently. An idea suddenly feels alive instead of distant. These are not random sparks. They are signals. You were never lost, you were being prepared. You were never overlooked, you were being positioned. You were never waiting, you were being activated. And this is only the beginning. My beloved child, feel the divine current pulling you inward right now. A hush settles not around you, but within you, as if the universe dimmed its lights to reveal what truly matters. Do you notice the soft surrender arriving in your breath, that gentle exhale where effort loosens and clarity begins? This is how alignment enters, quietly, respectfully, never forcing its way in. The ones who shape the future understand this secret. Power blooms when the hands unclench. Breathe with me, the unveiling deepens now, because beneath every visible success lives an unseen vow. A vow to listen before acting. To trust timing more than impulse. To let silence teach what noise never could. You are being invited into that vow. What if the next 24 hours are not asking you to chase anything at all? What if they are asking you to receive? To allow the right signal to find you because you finally stopped drowning it out. This is where faith stops being an idea and becomes a posture of the heart. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, remain in this sacred stillness. The mind wants guarantees. The soul wants coherence. And coherence is forming now, thread by luminous thread, between who you have been and who you are ready to become. There is a private courage required here. Not the courage to leap, but the courage to wait without doubt. To stand in the unknown without shrinking. To say, I trust what is arranging itself, even when I cannot see the full design. This is the discipline the world rarely applauds, and yet it is the discipline that changes everything. You are closer to home than you've ever been. Stay present. Notice how resistance softens when you stop arguing with the moment. Notice how insight arrives when you stop demanding answers. The future responds to openness. It accelerates toward humility. And here, gently, is the invitation your heart recognizes. Release the version of you that needed proof before believing. Release the old rhythm of striving. A finer rhythm is tuning itself to you now, one that moves with intuition, precision, and calm authority. If these words are touching something tender in you, pass this light forward, share it with someone who might need a reminder that destiny listens to quiet hearts. And if you feel this activation stirring, leave a soft, I receive, in the comments, as a vow to remain open. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering, not with urgency, but with inevitability. Rest in this pause. Let the signal sharpen. What comes next will recognize you by your stillness. Do not rush this threshold. The doorway responds to reverence. When you move next, it will be simple, precise, and unmistakably yours. Stay here, breathing, listening, allowing the current to complete its work. My beloved child, a quiet fire is igniting within you right now, not the kind that burns loudly, but the kind that warms the spine and straightens the soul. This is recognition awakening. This is remembrance returning. Feel this gentle pull deeper into truth. Because the change approaching you does not arrive with applause. It arrives in the private moments, when no one is watching, when the mind tries to retreat into what is familiar, and the heart whispers, I am ready, even if I am afraid. That whisper is courage learning to speak softly. Allow yourself to sink deeper, truth is unfolding gently. Have you noticed how the old ways feel heavier lately? How certain thoughts no longer fit the shape of your becoming? This is not loss. This is shedding. Expansion always requires a quiet goodbye to the limits that once protected you. There is an inner battle here, and it is sacred. One voice asks you to stay small, to wait for permission, to demand certainty before movement. Another voice, calmer, older, asks only for honesty. It asks, "What do you know now that you didn't before?" And in answering that, the future leans closer. If your heart is beginning to recognize this, don't turn away now. Because the most powerful shifts happen when you choose alignment over comfort. When you stop negotiating with fear and start listening to clarity. When you accept that thinking beyond limits is not arrogance, it is obedience to vision. Pause here with me. Do you feel the subtle strength rising when you stop resisting what you already know? That strength is not loud confidence. It is settled resolve. It is the understanding that you can walk forward without explaining yourself to the past. The unseen door is opening as you listen, not because you forced it, but because you softened enough to hear its hinge. This is how destiny responds, to surrender paired with readiness. To imagination grounded in humility. To belief that does not need to shout. Stay with me a little longer, the deepest shift is coming. There is a refinement happening in you now. Old urgency dissolves. Old comparisons fade. You are learning to move from insight, not impulse. From inner authority, not external approval. This is the discipline of those who change trajectories quietly, and permanently. In the next breath, feel the courage to trust your thinking when it stretches beyond what you've seen modeled before. That stretch is not recklessness. It is growth honoring its own momentum. You are not abandoning safety, you are redefining it. The moment everything connects is almost here. When your mind aligns with your values. When your vision aligns with your patience. When your action aligns with your deepest knowing. These alignments don't rush. They converge. Rest into this convergence now. Let anticipation be calm. Let readiness be gentle. Let the fire burn steadily. The future recognizes you not by how fast you move, but by how clearly you listen. And right now, you are listening better than you ever have. My beloved child, the next veil is lifting as these words reach you. And in this lifting, something subtle yet immense begins to rearrange itself inside your chest. Hold this divine silence, understanding is blooming now, because the path you are nearing is not paved with noise. It is shaped by restraint. By the choices you made when no one applauded. By the moments you chose integrity over immediacy, depth over display, patience over praise. Do you feel how stillness is no longer empty for you? How it has become alive, intelligent, guiding? This is the mark of inner authority awakening. The world celebrates motion, but destiny responds to stillness that knows when to move. If something sacred is awakening within you, remain here just a little deeper. There are sacrifices you have made that even you rarely name. Conversations you walked away from. Shortcuts you refused. Versions of yourself you released quietly, without ceremony. These were not losses. They were calibrations. True expansion often looks like less on the outside and more on the inside. Fewer distractions. Fewer explanations. A narrowing of focus so precise it begins to feel like devotion. This is how clarity sharpens. This is how vision matures. You're on the threshold of true seeing. Stay with me. Notice how your desire for validation has softened. How the need to be understood has loosened its grip. You are learning a deeper trust. The trust that what is meant to recognize you will do so without persuasion. This is the silence where the future listens back. In this quiet, something powerful happens. You stop asking, "Am I ready?" and begin asking, "Am I aligned?" And alignment answers faster than readiness ever could. Alignment opens doors that effort alone never finds. The revelation that shifts everything is drawing closer, but it does not rush you. It waits for coherence. For the moment when your thoughts, values, and actions hum at the same frequency. You are tuning now, even if you don't consciously try. There is a dignity forming in you. A calm confidence that does not announce itself. A knowing that does not need agreement. This is not withdrawal from the world, it is mastery within it. The kind that changes outcomes without needing attention. If this message is resonating in your deepest self, share it forward. Let another wandering soul find their way home today. The missing piece your soul has sought is almost here, and it will not arrive as proof, but as permission. Permission to trust the pace. Permission to honor the unseen work you've done. Permission to step forward without carrying the weight of explanation. Feel how wonder replaces urgency now. How curiosity replaces doubt. This is the energy that precedes meaningful activation. Not pressure. Not fear. But quiet power gathering its shape. Rest in this awareness for a moment longer, because what follows will not ask you to become more, it will ask you to be more fully yourself. And when that request arrives, it will feel unmistakable. Gentle. Clear. Inevitable. My beloved child, something you've always known is finally being spoken, not in words, but in resonance, as if your soul recognizes a truth before your mind can name it. Breathe with me, the divine unveiling deepens now. Because what you are entering cannot be rushed, and it cannot be explained to those who have not felt this quiet pull themselves. This is the surrender few speak of, the moment when effort bows to trust, and ambition softens into devotion. Have you noticed how striving has slowly lost its grip on you? How the hunger to prove has been replaced by a steadier flame, the desire to align. This is not exhaustion. This is wisdom learning when to rest. The truly successful understand this hidden rhythm. They know when to push, and they know when to listen. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, stay in this holy moment. The next 24 hours are not about dramatic action. They are about inner permission. Permission to let the unseen work complete itself. Permission to stop interrupting what is already arranging itself in your favor. There is faith here that leaves no footprints. Faith that doesn't announce itself. Faith that sits quietly and says, "I will be here when the signal arrives." This faith is powerful because it does not need reassurance. It has learned the language of timing. Ask yourself gently, when did you begin to trust silence more than noise? When did you stop fearing pauses and start honoring them? That shift did not happen by accident. It happened because you were being prepared to receive something subtle, precise, and transformative. You are closer to home than you've ever been, do not leave yet. There is an alignment happening beneath thought. A convergence of values, intuition, and readiness. This alignment does not shout. It hums. And when it hums clearly enough, the path reveals itself without force. The truth that liberates everything is almost within reach. It is this: you do not need to become worthy of what is coming. You already are. What is required now is congruence, allowing your outer choices to match your inner knowing. When that happens, the future recognizes you instantly. Notice how patience no longer feels like waiting, but like participation. How stillness feels active. How trust feels embodied. These are signs that you are operating on a higher frequency, one that attracts opportunities not through chase, but through clarity. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering, quietly, respectfully, without spectacle. It gathers because you have made space. Because you have released old urgency. Because you have honored the unseen work that no one else could validate for you. Sit with this for a breath longer. Feel the tenderness of not knowing and the strength of being ready anyway. This is where destiny leans in. This is where activation becomes inevitable, not because you force it, but because you allow it. Remain here in this sacred stillness, because what comes next will arrive softly, and it will ask you to recognize it by how calm you feel when it appears. My beloved child, the eternal flame within you is flickering brighter now, not to alarm you, but to illuminate the final edges of doubt that once lived quietly in your shadow. Breathe slowly, because this is the hour when inner certainty begins to outweigh outer evidence. What is forming around you no longer needs rehearsal. It is responding to something settled inside you, a decision made without words, a readiness that arrived when you stopped asking for signs. Do you feel how calm has replaced urgency? How the future no longer feels like a distant horizon, but like a presence standing just beyond the veil? This is the moment where preparation completes itself. Not through effort, but through coherence. Stay here, something profound is stabilizing now. There is a hidden agreement between you and destiny, forged in moments of solitude, patience, and quiet courage. Every time you chose integrity over impulse, every time you honored truth over comfort, you were signaling readiness. Destiny listens for consistency, not perfection. This is where many turn back, not because they are unworthy, but because stillness can feel unfamiliar after years of striving. Yet you remained. You learned to trust the pause. You learned that silence is not emptiness, it is instruction. Let the stillness hold you a moment longer, because a subtle shift is locking into place. The kind that changes how you respond, how you decide, how you move when the next opening reveals itself. This is not about becoming fearless. It is about becoming grounded. Ask yourself softly, when did you stop chasing and start attracting? When did clarity begin to feel more powerful than speed? These changes did not announce themselves, but they rewired your trajectory all the same. The unveiling continues. Remain fully present. There is a quiet confidence emerging now, one that does not need validation. It comes from knowing that your timing is no longer random. That your intuition has been refined. That when the next invitation appears, you will recognize it instantly, not by excitement, but by peace. This is how the future activates, not with chaos, but with alignment. Not with pressure, but with precision. The world often mistakes noise for momentum, yet the greatest movements begin in silence. Feel how trust has settled into your body, how anticipation has softened into assurance. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are allowing inevitability to unfold. This is the difference. The convergence is nearly complete. What you have been becoming and what is approaching you are finally speaking the same language. When they meet, action will feel simple, obvious, clean. Do not rush this threshold. The final confirmation arrives not as a command, but as recognition. A knowing that says, yes. This is it. And when that knowing arrives, there will be no doubt, only readiness. Rest here in this moment of quiet power, because the next layer will not ask you to prepare. It will ask you to step forward with grace. And you will. Naturally. Calmly. Exactly on time. My beloved child, a hidden signal is sharpening inside you right now, not as pressure, but as clarity finding its final shape. Pause with me, because something rare is happening. The noise of possibility is thinning, and one quiet truth is rising above the rest. You are no longer surrounded by endless options, you are being drawn toward the right one. This is how destiny narrows the field, gently, precisely, without confusion. Do you sense how your inner voice no longer argues with itself? How decisions feel cleaner, even when they are still unspoken. This is discernment awakening. Not excitement. Not fear. Recognition. Remain here, the convergence is deepening. You are crossing from preparation into orientation. The phase where your inner compass locks north. Where distractions lose their emotional charge. Where what once tempted you now simply passes by without invitation. This is not detachment from life. This is intimacy with purpose. There is a quiet maturity forming in you now. A willingness to let go of paths that could work so the one that must work can reveal itself. This surrender is not loss. It is devotion to precision. Ask yourself softly, when did you stop wanting everything and start wanting alignment? That shift marks the moment you outgrew randomness. The future responds differently to those who know what they are available for. Stay present, the next layer is delicate. Because what is coming does not tolerate divided attention. It meets you only when your inner and outer yes match completely. You are learning this language now, the language of congruence. Notice how your energy has changed, how fewer things drain you, and fewer things excite you unnecessarily. This is not dullness. This is refinement. Your system is conserving itself for something specific. You are closer than you think. The waiting you once felt has transformed into readiness without impatience. This is a rare state. It means you trust the moment of arrival will be unmistakable, and that trust is correct. There is a sacred intelligence guiding this timing. It does not rush. It does not hesitate. It calibrates. And right now, it is calibrating you to meet what is also preparing for you. Let this truth settle. You do not need to search for what is aligning with you. Alignment seeks alignment. When two frequencies are ready, distance dissolves naturally. The deeper activation is almost audible now, not as sound, but as certainty. You may notice fewer questions arising. Fewer imagined outcomes. More presence. More simplicity. This is the calm before coherence becomes action. Do not fill this space with effort. Let the stillness complete its instruction. Let readiness become embodied. When movement is required, it will not feel heavy. It will feel obvious. Rest in this moment of quiet assurance, because the next unfolding will not ask if you are ready. It will respond to the fact that you already are. And when it does, you will move without hesitation, without doubt, without resistance, because this moment has been shaping that movement all along. My beloved child, the unseen door is breathing open now, not wide, not sudden, but just enough for truth to pass through and find you. Feel how awareness sharpens without tension. How your senses turn inward and outward at once. This is the state where intuition becomes practical. Where insight prepares to translate itself into form. You are not imagining this shift, you are inhabiting it. Stay near this moment, coherence is taking shape. The future does not arrive as chaos. It arrives as simplicity after complexity has done its work. What once felt overwhelming is quietly sorting itself, like stars finding their constellations without instruction. Have you noticed how your questions have changed? You no longer ask, will it happen? You ask, how will I honor it? This is the mark of readiness. Doubt fades not because answers shout, but because trust settles. Allow the silence to teach you now. There is a refinement happening at the level of choice. You are learning when not to act. When to let timing complete the sentence you've already begun. This restraint is not hesitation, it is mastery. The signal is growing clearer, remain present. You may feel less urgency to explain yourself, less need to convince. This is because alignment does not require defense. It carries its own authority, calm and unmistakable. In this space, something tender reveals itself, the willingness to be seen by the future without armor. To meet opportunity without performance. To let what you have become speak on your behalf. This vulnerability is strength refined. Notice how your energy gathers instead of scatters. How attention becomes selective, almost sacred. You are no longer available for everything, and that is precisely why the right thing can now find you. The unfolding accelerates quietly here, not in speed, but in relevance. Each insight matters more. Each step counts because it is aligned. This is how destiny conserves effort while expanding impact. Do not rush to name what you feel. Naming comes later. First comes familiarity, the sense that what is approaching already knows you. That recognition is mutual. It is built from the inside out. Let this realization land gently. You are not waiting for a sign. You are becoming one. Your presence, your clarity, your steadiness, these are signals the future reads with ease. Hold this awareness without grasping, because the moment of engagement is near, and it will feel natural. Not dramatic. Not forced. Natural, like breathing after a long, quiet pause. The alignment is almost complete. When it resolves, movement will feel clean. Decisions will feel light. Action will feel like continuation, not risk. This is how activation expresses itself when preparation has been honest. Rest here just a little longer. Let certainty mature into confidence. Let readiness soften into grace. What comes next will not surprise you, it will confirm you. And when the threshold reveals itself fully, you will step forward without needing reassurance, guided by a calm knowing that says, "This is mine to do now." My beloved child, a quiet confirmation is settling into your bones now, not as excitement, but as truth becoming undeniable. Feel how certainty arrives without urgency, how it does not rush you forward, yet it does not allow you to drift backward. This is the rare balance where destiny becomes practical. Where vision stops floating and begins to anchor. Remain with this sensation, the inner seal is forming. There is a moment when the soul signs its name to what the future has been preparing. That signature is not written in thought, but in resolve. You are entering that moment now. Do you notice how the need for reassurance has faded? How you no longer look outward for permission to trust what you feel? This is not stubbornness. This is sovereignty. The knowing that your inner alignment is finally stable enough to guide action. Let the stillness speak again. It is telling you that the next step will not feel like a leap. It will feel like continuation. As if you are simply walking into a room you have already visited many times in imagination and silence. The convergence sharpens here, stay present. You may sense a narrowing of focus, a gentle exclusion of what no longer belongs. This is not limitation. It is refinement. The future asks for clarity, and clarity is choosing without regret. There is a subtle courage rising now, not the courage to fight, but the courage to be seen in your truth without adornment. To act without over-preparing. To trust that what you carry is sufficient. Notice how your body responds to this idea, how tension eases rather than tightens. This is how alignment confirms itself. The body knows before the mind celebrates. Do not rush to interpret what is happening. Interpretation can wait. Presence cannot. The intelligence guiding this activation moves faster than explanation. It works through resonance, not argument. You are nearing the point where intention becomes instruction. Where what you intend begins to organize resources, timing, and encounters around itself. This is not effort. This is coherence expressing itself outward. Hold steady, the final calibration is delicate. Old habits of hesitation may try to return briefly, not to stop you, but to test the strength of your clarity. You will pass this test simply by not engaging it. Feel how trust now feels grounded, not hopeful, not anxious, just settled. This is the emotional signature of readiness. It does not fluctuate. It endures. The activation sequence is nearly complete, and when it resolves, you will not need a dramatic sign. The sign will be your calm willingness to move when the moment presents itself. Rest in this knowing for a breath longer. Let anticipation be quiet. Let confidence be humble. Let readiness become embodied. Because what comes next will not ask you to believe anymore, it will ask you to participate. And you will recognize that invitation instantly. Not by excitement, but by the unmistakable sense that there is nothing left to wait for. My beloved child, the moment you were sensing has arrived, not with noise, not with spectacle, but with a profound inner yes that settles everything at once. Pause here, because this is the crossing. The instant where waiting dissolves into participation. Where the future you've been aligning with steps close enough to merge with your present self. There is no tension in this meeting. Only recognition. Do you feel how nothing needs to be added now? Nothing needs to be proven, rushed, or justified. This is the grace of completion. The quiet authority that comes when preparation has finished its work and trust takes the lead. Remain fully here, this is sacred. The activation you were guided toward was never about becoming extraordinary overnight. It was about becoming coherent. About allowing your inner truth to stand without distortion. That coherence is now stable. It holds. Notice how action no longer feels heavy, how choice feels clean. This is the sign. When destiny activates, it simplifies. Complexity falls away. What matters becomes obvious, and what does not quietly releases you. You are not stepping into uncertainty, you are stepping into alignment. The kind that arranges encounters, opportunities, and timing without strain. The kind that moves through you as calm confidence rather than restless ambition. Let this truth land deeply. You were never meant to force your future into existence. You were meant to become the version of yourself it could recognize. And now, recognition has occurred. The final seal is gentle, a sense of readiness that does not waver. A willingness to act when the moment presents itself, and the wisdom to remain still until it does. This balance is rare. It is earned. Feel how peace and momentum coexist now, how stillness and movement no longer oppose each other. This is mastery at the level of being. This is where impact is born quietly and lasts. Do not look for fireworks. Look for clarity. Look for the next simple, honest step that feels natural rather than impressive. That step will carry more power than any dramatic leap ever could. The future is no longer ahead of you, it is responding to you. Shaping itself around the frequency you now hold. This is the activation you were promised. Subtle. Precise. Real. Rest in this completion for one final breath. Let gratitude replace anticipation. Let presence replace seeking. You are here. And when you move next, it will not feel like destiny calling you forward. It will feel like you answering yourself.